Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole,
And my name's Brittany.
and this is the 11-Minute Mile, episode number 5. I can't believe we're already here. We're going to start talking about some finances. I think that eventually this might have to be a 2, 3 episode kind of thing, but just
Or
our
10.
or 10, just our background in finances, things that we learned. And Brittany, do you want to take it from here? Just kind of give your background and how you grew up, what finances were like for you, etc.
Yeah. And this is by no means the way to do things. This is just our experience. We're not like giving financial advice by any means, but
Nor
if
should
it's
we.
helpful, then we want to help you. But for me personally, I grew up very middle class. My parents, they tried to give us everything that they could, but my mom was a shopper. She loved shopping, but she also was smart shopping. She did the deals. She was all about like discounts, the deals, and she just could not help herself. And I think it's kind of ingrained in my body now to always go for the deal. I feel like paying full price actually kills me inside. But it's just one of those things that I grew up with, and it was a super nice way to kind of help me throughout life. But when I moved to New York, I only had like $2,000 in my bank account. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but I could see what the wealthy and the rich people, the rich quotes, people were doing. And I would just try to do anything that was getting me there. And it was just even like I heard her debt was bad. So I was like, okay, no debt. That's not what I want. But I had no idea or no reason why. I just knew that it was bad. So that's kind of like where I come from in my background. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So I think that Brittany and I have sort of like the same upbringing. I am definitely a shopper because my mom, so thanks, mom. But my dad was definitely not a big spender, didn't like credit cards, always wanted to make sure that, we were in like a good place. But also as we got older, always had jobs, make sure you're saving money, all that good stuff. And of course, I moved to New York. I was a big spender, I was going out all the time. And definitely, Chris and I got into some credit card debt, which my point of the story is you should never be embarrassed to talk about it. Like me talking about my debt to my friends was only helpful because there are so many people, I would say like a majority in the same position that I was in. And it was nice to see kind of what they were doing to get themselves to a better place financially. And also, my friends were so supportive. Like, Brittany, we were going out like to dinners and stuff, and my friends would be like, "No, Nicole, you can't put your card down." Because I'm always the first person to be like, "Oh, I'll take care of it. You guys can Venmo me, whatever." But it's so my point being is that it's nice to talk about it. It's nice to learn and see what other people are doing, and also to have your friends know about it because if you have good friends, they're going to support you in the right ways.
Definitely. And having that support is sometimes exactly what you need because sometimes you don't even know what you're doing. It's just mindless. It's just like, I mean, credit cards, I grew up kind of on like the debit card phase. So I never spent more than I could afford. Like, I didn't understand really like the credit card situation. So I was always so nervous about debt that I would spend money and then I would pay it off right away. And that's just like kind of how my mentality was because I was so nervous about debt. And I feel like that's also like with your upbringing, when you do have debt, you realize like money and debt in any of those issues are probably number one for like divorce, for fighting, for arguments, like in a family. So that and was enough to just make me be like, I absolutely can't do that. I don't want that. But now I'm married to Dan, who is the financial king of the world. He is so smart and so helpful. So I feel like I've learned a ton from him. And I've kind of shared that with all of my friends because I feel like they don't really teach it in school, or at least they
No,
didn't
they
when we were there.
should.
Yeah, it's like this is a topic that you always have to deal with. It's a part of your everyday life from the ages of like middle school all the way up through your dying days. Like you need to understand your finances. And I feel like he's been a really great impact on my life and also my friends because I'm just kind of like extending. I'm like, I don't know, but this is what he says.
And it's helpful because there's so many things that I would not have known without being super open and honest about like our own situation. And again, it's so bad to bottle that stuff up. And like the point of my story is to just not like you should not be embarrassed ever. Like there are millions and millions of people that are in the same situation. And I was kind of shocked when I started to talk about it to hear more of my friends' stories and them being like, yeah, I was in the same position or I am in the same position. And then you start becoming like more and more supportive of each other and you learn so much about things that you didn't know before. And I feel like too, right now around the holidays, it's so easy to spend. You're going out constantly, you're out at bars, dinners, buying gifts. There's Black Friday, there's Cyber Monday. It's so hard not to spend, but sometimes it's good to just sort of take a step back and relax for a moment. And me and Verdi were talking about Black Friday. The same deals that happened on Black Friday, literally yesterday, I looked online, there were the same exact deals happening. So
I know, and
don't run,
it's
walk.
hard.
Yeah,
It's so hard because those deals, there you're like, this is I need this. And realistically, do you need it? Probably not. One thing that I do that's super helpful is I'll make a list of things that I need before Black Friday happens. And if those items go on sale, then you purchase them. Because I feel like you'll scroll through Instagram, you look on the computer, you get these pop-up ads, and it's just like you want all these things, but do you actually need those things? That's the
yeah.
real question. You don't, but sometimes it's like, of course I want to buy these, but I
Testing.
mean, it's so tempting and it's hard and it's addicting, but yeah, tricky
Those
life.
days that they're having like the big sales, just don't go on social media. I feel like every influencer is posting all the cutest things, all the things you need to buy. They'll be there. And I'm telling myself that because I am terrible, terrible. I am like the world's worst shopper. You can tell me to buy something, I'm gonna go buy it.
Yeah, but easier said than done. But
Yes,
another thing that is helpful for Dan and I that we do is like every 4 months, we just kind of do a check in about like our finances and where we stand. And we kind of just set goals. And just having that awareness and kind of what you were talking about, Nicole, is kind of just talking about it and being open about it. Because when you can see it and you can talk about it and it's a fluid conversation, then it makes it easier to work towards those goals. So if you notice your like debt is increasing, you're like, okay, I gotta like cut back on the spending or vice versa. So just a nice way to kind of check in each like quarterly throughout the
for
year.
sure. No, I kind of love that. I We should probably start doing that more than we typically do. Um, but 3 minutes, I feel like our takeaways, I would say my takeaway is Brittany and I are in our 30s. I don't think that I'm still not that great with my finances and I'm still learning, but it's okay. It's a process. And if you're in your mid 20s and you're like, I don't even know what to do with my taxes, like it is such a learning experience. You're not alone. The majority is probably in the same situation. So it's good to communicate. It's good to conversate about all of these situations because that is the only way you'll learn. And moral of my story is never be embarrassed ever. How about you, Brett?
Yeah. And I think my takeaway from it all is to make sure that you're checking in every few months. Make sure that you're actually writing it down and you're noticing and you're seeing exactly what you're spending and what you're doing so that you can modify and you can alternate and switch up whatever you're doing, whether it's helping or if it's hurting you. That way you can actually move forward with your finances. And especially at this age, when we are getting a little bit older, you're not just saving for yourself, which is kind of how I went about my whole life. Like now you're saving for a potential family or retirement or whatever that may be, which is a whole nother story and a whole nother 11-minute
Yes,
episode. But working through that and really just being mindful and setting those goals and those targets for each year, I feel like that's going to be super, super beneficial for you and for everyone around you too, because you'll be able to go out more if you have more money.
Absolutely. And if you know that you have a few months coming up that you have lots of trips, lots of weddings, things that are happening, maybe those months before that kind of cut back or even find like an extra little job that you can get that's sort of your spending money and put that in like a separate account. But I think that's it. I feel like this is definitely an episode that we can elaborate on and do like 4 or 5 more episodes. But thank you guys for listening today. If you want us to talk more about finances, please let us know. It's only helpful for us. And anything else, Britt, you want to add?
I think that's it. But thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We can't wait to talk to you later.
All right. See you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.